Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys? We are back. I am back, I should say. I hope you guys are doing well. It is another early stream. So today should be a good stream. This, I believe, is the medical examiner, and I know for sure that we are going to be seeing some text messages. So Snark, I hope you have a great meeting and we will see you soon. Sheba, hello. Barbie, hello. Hey, Lydia Jade, good to see you again. Really nice to see you. So I'm looking forward to today's um, discoveries on what they put out in the hearing. Now, I did have a question and I was thinking about this. Hey, Bliss Chris. We've gone over I kinda skipped ahead one particular day in this series of Gypsy and Nick, and we listened to Gypsy's testimony. And since I started from day 1 of the trial, and I'm going through each of the days now, do we want to hear Gypsy's testimony again? Because after day 2, she starts day 3. So even though at the beginning of this Gypsy series, I played her testimony after we heard her interrogation, do we want to hear it again or not? I'm not sure if you guys like hers is interesting to me because she admits to basically everything. But I also don't want to play some. Babe, will you turn the light off for me? Thank you. I also don't want to play something if you think it's been overplayed. So you guys let me know if you think it's I mean, I would leave that up to you. Hey, Kendra, thought you were working on your candles. I really enjoyed Kendra's body cam on the Chris Watts case last night. And I really wanted to get to the part of the confession. I wasn't ready for it to be over. So, yeah, I think you probably should. Yeah, I was kind of like, hey, what's up, Muggsy? It's good to see you again. If I could give you just like a solid handshake, Muggsy, I would. I just wanted to let you know. You've missed some other, yeah, okay. So I'll say that we go ahead and we'll play Gypsy's testimony. So then we'll basically just be keeping things in order and everyone can hear it. So I won't waste anyone's time and I will get started on this next part of the Gypsy Rose trial. Or actually, I take that back. I keep calling it the Gypsy Rose trial because everything is so much about her, but really it's the trial for the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, so it's Nick's trial. Hopefully, we get some funny captions. I was still laughing about that last night. And let me make sure it's sped up. Yep. And I picked up Kuma's antibiotics and her steroid today. So that always makes lots of potty breaks. So I'm just letting you guys know. It makes her a pig. She becomes a little bit more aggressive when she gets on prednisone. I don't know if that's common for dogs. But granted, she is a nearly 100-pound German Shepherd, so but she gets a little bit more aggressive. She's extra needy. She has to go to the bathroom more, and she's thirsty nonstop, and therefore she has to pee nonstop. Anyways, dog TMI. Hey, Soph. Yeah, no worries. I don't expect everyone to be here all the time. Plus, I mean, this case is nearly 10 years old. Well, the case is nearly 10 years old, but this is from 2018.
Y'all get lunch, hopefully? You have another meeting?
Not with the Zooms again.
Okay.
Me too, so.
Have a seat. I'll swear you in after you get seated, okay? Better if you sit. I've had people fall off when we swear. They lose their balance or something. So they don't. So you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give.
Please state your name. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work, but you can use it.
Aaron Exner. And Mr. Exner, what's your current occupation?
I currently work in sales and marketing at Dynamic DNA Laboratories.
And what do you do at Dynamic DNA Laboratories?
Right now, focused on sales and marketing of our number of variety of genetic tests and other things we do.
How long have you worked there?
Since April of this year.
And what did you do prior to working at Dynamic DNA Laboratories?
Prior to working at Dynamic, I worked for the Missouri State Highway Patrol Crime Laboratory here in Springfield.
How long did you work for the Missouri State Highway Patrol?
A little over 5 years.
And what were your duties at the crime lab here?
Yeah, my duties mainly consisted of locating, identifying, and genetically typing biological material, and then making subsequent comparisons to known reference standards.
And what was your title?
I was a DNA criminalist.
And in order to work as a DNA criminalist, did you first, actually let me back up first, what's your educational background?
Yeah. I got my undergraduate degree from Southwest Baptist University in Baltimore, Missouri in biology, and then went on and got my master's in plant science from Missouri State University.
Then in order to work as a criminalist, did you have to go through additional training from the Missouri Highway Patrol?
Yes, I did.
Okay, can you describe that?
Generally consisted of about a year and a half of in-house training of understanding the technology from my educational background, but then figuring out ways to apply it and running a number of examples and different samples kind of prepared me for the work.
And how long was that process?
About a year.
Is that too fast for you guys, or is that okay? And how about the volume? I just want to check. I always get concerned that it might be too fast for people, or some people are like slow talkers when they testify, and some people are not. I definitely will slow it down. I know for sure when it comes to the text messages, though. I think.
Yeah.
Mr. Exner, just in general, what is DNA?
Yeah, DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, a big fancy word that really is just the blueprint of life. It's what makes us unique and what makes us all human.
And where do we get our DNA?
Yeah, we get half of our DNA from our father and half of our DNA from our mother.
So if you're working as a criminalist at the crime lab and you receive a piece of evidence, are there some preliminary steps you go through to see if there's anything on there that may be suitable for testing?
I got to zoom in so.
Can you restate the question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's take it. You get an item of clothing. Mm-hmm. Is there a preliminary stage that when you look at that item of clothing that you go through to see if there's maybe something on there you can test?
Yeah, generally what we'll have is kind of a summary of whatever the incident is. And so knowing what the summary is and knowing oftentimes what type of biological material we would be looking for would often dictate the type of DNA analysis I would perform.
And then if you are able to locate DNA, are you able to put that into some kind of format that you can see?
Yes, I can.
What is that called?
That would be called a DNA profile.
Now, if you're able to develop a DNA profile from a piece of evidence, do you necessarily know whose DNA that is?
Not initially, no.
So then is it common for you to receive maybe a suspect's DNA or a victim's DNA so that you can compare?
Yes, it was common practice for us to have what was called a reference standard from all subjects associated with the case, whatever it was.
And what was the most common form that you would get those reference standards in?
Yeah, the most common form would be what's called a buccal swab, B-U-C-C-A-L, and that actually just stands, the medical term for the inside of the cheek. So a buccal swab would probably be the most common.
Like, I'm sorry, but if I am ever testifying in a public case and you zoom into me this far and it's going to be something that's plastered all over the internet, I will hunt you down. Just a little warning to whatever cameraman is there.
And assuming you're able to develop a DNA profile from a piece of evidence, do you compare that profile to those of your reference standards from a suspect and or a victim?
Yes.
Now, if a profile from a piece of evidence is consistent with somebody's known profile, how do you word that?
Generally, we would word it as that it would be consistent with.
And why do you use that phrase instead of it's a match?
Yeah, a big part of it has to do with the fact that we don't look at the entire strand of DNA. We only look at, generally in this case, 16 locations.
It is a little fast. Okay. He speaks fast. It doesn't seem like the attorney speaks as fast, but
The DNA being billions of
I thought it
nucleotides
was a
long,
little
we
fast
can only look
as
for
well.
16 different locations within that. And so without being able to test the whole strand of DNA, that's really all we can say.
But then are you able to use statistics to put a probability that those profiles actually are from the same person?
Yes, I could.
And how does that work?
So generally, there have been studies that have been done that have shown what are called relative frequencies. So they've looked at these locations over a large number of people,
Hey, Bambi.
and given certain ethnic backgrounds, they can see how often these, what were called alleles at these locations, how often they would come up in certain population groups. And so we would apply essentially the statistical weight to that, and then do those comparisons and create a result that we would report out.
Drawing your attention now to back in 2015, did you take part in a case that involved the death of someone named Claudine Blanchard?
Is it okay if I look at my notes?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
And what was your role in the investigation?
In this particular investigation, I was the DNA analyst assigned to the case.
And were there various items then that you went ahead and tested?
Yes, there was.
And in about early 2016, did you complete some reports that had the results of your testing?
Yes, I did.
Now, you mentioned reference standards being that you know it comes from a certain person. Did you have those in this case?
Yes, I did.
Which ones did you have?
I had the buccal swabs from the 3 subjects associated in this case.
And I'll just show you quickly here. This has already been admitted as State's Exhibit 43. Is that the buccal swab of the victim, Ms. Blanchard?
Yes.
And this tape right here that you used that?
Yes, I can tell both by the tape at the bottom with my initials and date across that, as well as our crime lab barcode that we apply to every piece of evidence that comes into the lab. I also have my initial and date on that as well.
All right. Now I'll show you what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit 178. Is this the reference standard of Mr. Godejohn?
Yes, it appears to be.
And again, same tape and marking as you described earlier.
Yes.
And then lastly, State's Exhibit 179. Is that a reference standard for Gypsy Blanchard?
Yes, it appears to be.
And you know you handled it for the same reason you've already described.
Yes.
Were some of the items that you tested, did those come from the bathroom at 2103 West Volunteer Way?
That was my understanding, yes.
Specifically, did you test some paper towels?
Yes, I did.
If you would look at there in State's Exhibit 24, and now State's Exhibit 25, we see a roll of paper towels. When you received it, it would have been in an evidence bag, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
But then by the time you actually tested it, would you have taken it out and tested the red substance there at the top?
Yes, I would.
And what were the results of your testing of the paper towel?
So after testing with a chemical that we call leucomalachite green, it's a chemical that we use to color change tests that reacts to blood. And after testing that, I say that it's screened positive for the presence of blood.
And then did you make comparison to the known profiles that you have?
Yes, I did.
And were there any consistencies?
Yes, there was.
And what was that result?
The profile that I developed from the screen positive blood stain is consistent with that of Nicholas Godejohn and has an approximate frequency of 1 in 89.93 quadrillion in the Caucasian population and 1 in 20.46 quintillion in the black population. Gypsy Blanchard and Claudinia Blanchard are eliminated as the source of the profile.
And that was a big number that you mentioned.
Yes.
Is that more than the population?
That was a big
of
number that
people
you
on Earth?
mentioned.
Yes, it is.
Now, you could look up there at States Exhibit 28. You also
I don't
did some
even know what a
testing
quintillion
on,
is.
that swab from the sink. Can you describe what your results were from that?
From item
how many zeros is a
14.1, 14.1
quintillion?
being the crime laboratory
I'm too dumb
number
for that.
this, I say that a DNA profile was developed and is characteristic of being a mixture of 3 individuals. Claudinia Blanchard, Gypsy Blanchard, and Nicholas Godejohn cannot be eliminated as contributors to the mixture.
So when you receive a mixture, do you
Hey, Shyla.
still do the same thing where you assign a number or a percent probability that it is a mixture of those 3 individuals?
It's a similar process, again, using the statistics that we have from studies that have been done. But in this case, we utilize what's called a likelihood ratio, and we essentially put forth a hypothesis, and we look at likelihoods of those particular alleles at those locations to determine whether or not we can assign some weight to it.
And what was that statistic or hypothesis about this mixture from this swab?
So
Hey,
from this
JJ.
swab, the observed mixture profile is 475.7 quintillion times in the Caucasian population and 8.084 septillion times in the black population, more likely to occur under the scenario that it originated from a mixture of DNA from Claudinia Blanchard, Gypsy Blanchard, and Nicholas Godejohn, as opposed to the scenario that the mixture originated from a mixture of DNA from 3 unknown, unrelated individuals.
Then lastly,
Septillion?
did
I've
you
never
also
even
do
heard of
some
that one.
testing on a knife?
Yes, I did.
Now I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as States Exhibit 145.
Ooh, tacos sound good.
Is that the knife that you tested?
Yes, it is.
And then there seem to be several swabs in here with blue tape. What are those?
Those were the swabs that I took from various parts of the knife.
Okay, so whatever this quintillion, septillion, reptilian is, hey George. So that if there's only 3 profiles on it, it was only Dee Dee, which is obvious, and Nick and Gypsy.
May appear in the same or substantially same condition as when you packaged them.
Yes, I agree.
What was your general approach to testing the knife?
So a large part of our in-house training program that we deal with the Highway Patrol is dealing with a number of samples from potentially a number of different scenarios. And so my time with the patrol, having worked a variety of cases, including those with knives, I basically swapped different parts of the knife because basically there would be a kind of a story to tell from each part of the knife.
So if you look over your shoulder there at States Exhibit 138, I know with the blue glove aside, is that photograph the knife that we just looked at in the exhibit?
Yes, it appears to be.
And so did you test the blade of this knife?
Yes, I did.
And what, if any, results came from testing the blade?
The blade did screen positive for the presence of blood, and that a DNA profile was developed from that, and that the profiles consist of being a mixture of 2 individuals. The major component of the mixture is consistent with the profile developed from Claudinia Blanchard and has an approximate frequency of 1 in 2.196 quadrillion in the Caucasian population and 1 in 437.8 quadrillion in the black population.
And now, did you also test the handle of the knife?
Yes, I did.
Did you just test one place or more than one?
In this case, I swabbed more than one.
And specifically, what areas of the handle did you test?
In this instance, I swabbed the red part of the handle there, and then I also swabbed where the red part of the handle met the black part of the handle.
Taking first the red part of the handle, what was the result of your testing on that part?
That also screened positive for the presence of blood. A DNA profile was developed and was consistent of being a mixture of 2 individuals. Nicholas Godejohn and Claudinia Blanchard cannot be eliminated as contributors to the mixture. The observed mixture profile is 1.719 billion times in the Caucasian population and 56.15 billion times in the black population, more likely to occur under the scenario that originated from a mixture of DNA from Claudinia Blanchard and Nicholas Godejohn, as opposed to the scenario that the mixture originated from a mixture of DNA from Claudinia Blanchard and an unknown, unrelated individual.
And then how about the where you swapped, where the black part of the handle meets the red part of the handle. What were your results there?
From that one, a DNA profile was developed. It is characteristic of being a mixture of three individuals. Dee Dee Blanchard, Gypsy Blanchard, and Nicholas Godejohn cannot be eliminated as contributors to the mixture. The observed mixture profile is 59.88 quadrillion times in the Caucasian population and 6.12 quintillion times in the black population, more likely to occur under the scenario that it originated from a mixture of DNA from Dee Dee Blanchard, Gypsy Blanchard, and Nicholas Godejohn, as opposed to the scenario that the mixture originated from a mixture of DNA from three unknown, unrelated individuals.
I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No, okay.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
May he be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You have another witness?
We do, but I think that based on our prior conversations, we need to make a record first.
All right. Why don't we just go in here and do that? Okay. Now, folks, our next witness is going to take a little while, and so we're going to break in the middle of the testimony on direct. We normally don't do that, but that way you aren't sitting too long. If you need a break, though, before we get to that stopping point, just raise your hand and we'll stop then. Okay, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. Okay? So, Mr. Patterson.
State calls Michael Costello.
All right. Come on up, sir. Have a seat right here. If you raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the cause now been before the court?
Oh my
The truth,
gosh.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
I would never be able to do math like
State the name
that.
for the record, please. Michael Costello.
Your Honor, we would lodge our objection at this point.
All right. I'll overrule that objection. That'll be subject to what we talked about in the back.
Yes, sir. Will you spell your last name for the recorder, please?
Costello.
How are you employed?
I'm a computer forensic analyst with the Springfield Police Department.
Could you describe for the jury what a computer forensic analyst is?
My job is to process digital evidence. So digital evidence is anything that can store data related to a criminal case, but pretty much everything I work on is smartphones, computers, flash drives, and memory cards. It's my job to go out to scenes and collect that evidence, pull the information from that, analyze it, and then create reports for investigators.
You said you work for the Springfield Police Department, correct?
Correct.
Do you sometimes assist other agencies like the Greene County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
Do you have some certifications that enable you to do the work that you do?
Yes, I have 3.
What are they?
I'm a certified forensic computer examiner, which is put on by the International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists. That certification requires a multi-month process where you go through testing and they give you examples of the data and you can process it and answer questions about it. I am also an NCASE certified examiner. NCASE is a software tool that we use sometimes in forensics. It required going to several training classes and also a testing process after that. I am also a Celebrite certified mobile examiner. Celebrite is a phone forensic tool. They have several levels of certification, and that's the highest one that they have.
And do you have some additional training in that area as well, in addition to the certifications?
Yeah, I have over 700 hours in computer forensic training covering everything from getting data from devices, how data is stored on devices, and how operating systems save those and the artifacts that are left behind when people do certain things.
Since you mentioned when you say artifact left behind, can you just generally tell us what you mean by that?
Artifact would be something like web history or chat messages, something specific to a certain program.
Do you also teach in the area of computer forensics?
Yes, that first certification that I mentioned, the Certified Forensic Computer Examiner, the first half of that process, you have a coach that grades your work and answers all of your questions. So I've been doing that for other people that are going through that process, being their coach for several years. I also teach classes to detectives on investigating digital crimes.
Did you have an occasion in 2015 to assist the Greene County Sheriff's Office in the investigation of the death of Dee Dee Blanchard?
Yes.
And in the course of that work, did you examine a Hewlett-Packard desktop computer tower?
Yes.
And you've looked at that recently, correct? It's a physical item?
Yes.
In our office. So if I just
Real quick, for those who missed it, I was just pulling up the Freak-a-Leak Gypsy so you guys can see how she was 2 weeks before the murders. Let me share my screen. Give me 1 second to switch here. It's quite interesting. This was Sweet Little Gypsy, and these were 2 weeks before the murder, and I'm assuming, I don't know for sure if this was the knife that she mailed to Nick. This top one, there's other pictures of this, but she was pretending to be the girl from 50 Shades of Grey. And there's one more, and let me zoom out a minute. Yeah, you should be able to see that. And but you can see the knife that she has. So, but yeah, that was Sweet Little Gypsy. I figured I would give you guys I don't know if they're going to show these. I assume that they are, but if for some reason they don't show these pictures in the text messages, then now you have visual. So, yes, that's exactly who she was trying to be. Yep. I can try to find there's actual full body shots of it. And she was in a Facebook group like that. So, yeah. Let me play the. Here we go.
Hold up. State's Exhibit 86. You recognize that?
Yes, that's it.
And then did you also examine a Hewlett-Packard Pavilion laptop DV6000 that had a white top lid?
Yes.
And when you examined that, was it contained in a bag? It also had like a black computer laptop bag?
Yeah.
And you've seen that?
By the way, if you guys want me to, after we go over this trial and I'm basically done with all of this, I can put these all into a file and make all these PDFs available to you. I am submitting a request for the entire Godejohn file with the transcripts and stuff. So I'm trying to find out how much that's going to cost and what's available as of right now because it is pending appeal. So I don't know. Apparently there's some stuff that might be or unsealed in September, but I'm trying to find that out. And if I have to go to the courthouse, I'm only a few hours away from where this trial took place, so I can go pick it up. But yeah, so I'm trying to get more on it, but I can make all of this available to you if anybody wants to look at it further for themselves, wants to cover it, whatever.
Recently as well.
Yes.
Is that what's contained in State's Exhibit 89?
I believe so, yes.
And you examined some phones as well?
Correct.
I'll lock these up. State's Exhibit 79 has been introduced as a Kyocera flip phone. Is that the phone you examined?
Yes.
And State's Exhibit 94 is an LG touchscreen phone. Is that the phone you examined?
Yes.
So with regard to the two computers, States Exhibit 86 and 89, did you perform a forensic examination on those two machines?
Yes.
Can you describe what you did in general?
I take pictures of the device. I then remove the hard drive out of it. In the case of the desktop, it actually had two hard drives. I then create what's called a forensic image of that hard drive, which essentially just means it's an exact copy of the data that's on the hard drive, but there's some checks in there to make sure that it is an exact copy. I then do all of my analysis using that copy. I use several different software tools to do that. One of those is called X-Ways Forensic, that just allows you to browse and search and a bunch of other things. Another program I use is called Internet Evidence Finder, or IEF for short, and it looks more for specific artifacts. And actually its specialty is web browser history and chat messages. The other thing I do is I take that and I essentially boot the copy of those computers on my computer so I can kind of see how it looked to the user using something called virtual machines. Once I do all that, I bookmark the things that I think will be important, and I provide that to the investigators.
And so when I boot up my computer, I know down in like the right-hand corner it tells me the day and time.
Yeah.
Did you examine these two computers to see if the date and time stamps were accurate on them?
Yes, what I do is I go into the BIOS while the hard drive is disconnected, which is that thing you initially see when it starts up that kind of controls it at the basic level. And I look at the date and time there. The desktop computer was correct, and the laptop computer was only 2 minutes off, so they were essentially correct.
And W.
Did you do something to examine the computer to see if you could tell, just based on the contents of the computer, who was it that used the computer?
Yes.
How do you do that?
I go through and look and see what stuff is there that indicates who used it. So in this case, you can look at things like he had some chat applications installed, and the username that he used was Godejohn89. There were some documents that were on them that indicated they were written by Mr. Godejohn. You can look at the saved logins for websites in his web browser, and those all indicated Godejohn89 as well. And there's also pictures that were taken and videos that were taken with the webcam on them, and they showed him as well.
As you looked at these two computers, was there anything about the way they were set up, or the accounts were set up on them, that was perhaps more sophisticated or different than what a typical user would do in your experience?
There was some things that were a little different. He had several cleaning programs installed, but the big thing was his encryption setup.
First, let's talk a little bit about the cleaning programs. What do you mean by a cleaning program?
They're programs that are intended to try and make your computer run faster. So in doing so, it normally removes a lot of things. With that, it also erases a lot of the history of what the user has done on the computer.
Such that if it's been cleaned by the cleaner, you wouldn't be able to recover it if it's done it properly.
Correct. In theory, if it cleans it correctly, all of that evidence would be gone. One of the programs he had installed, he had at least two. One of them was actually scheduled to run 3 times a week, so it would have been running pretty frequently.
In spite of those programs, were you able to find some artifacts and data on the computers relative to this case?
Yes, I found that program that was scheduled to run did not erase everything. It was not erasing stuff correctly if you wanted to leave nothing behind.
And so is that a user error or a problem with the program itself?
It's a problem with the program itself. If he was to pull up his web browser and look at his web history, there wouldn't be any there. But it was still leaving data behind in the databases
quite techie then.
that the history is stored in.
So as the user of that computer, I would think it was working properly.
Correct.
You mentioned something about encryption. Can you tell us what you meant by that?
Yeah, so the desktop computer had 2 hard drives. The first I just used for storage, but that hard drive was encrypted with a encryption method called BitLocker. It's built into versions of Windows, and it allows you to encrypt a partition. So a partition is a subdivision of a hard drive, but in this case, this drive only had 1 partition on it that filled the entire drive, so essentially the entire drive was encrypted.
So if I can stop you for a second, if I think of my hard drive as like a pie shape or a circle, a partition would be like a slice of that pie.
It would be.
But here is the whole drive.
Correct.
Okay. And then you were starting to explain further.
So inside of that, once I was able to decrypt that, there were
Whoops. Am I back? I don't know what the hell I did. That was weird. Some of you guys may remember the Josh Duggar trial, and I'm back, right? Just want to make sure I'm back. I think I am. Hopefully. Doot, doot, doot. I thought I did something wrong. Yes, you're back. Okay, cool. Well, with Josh Duggar, he partitioned his computer so that way his wife and the rest of his family could not see the child pornography that he was looking at. And anyways, he was quite techie as well. And there really is, like, you can, these people that do this for a living, as far as like these crime labs are, you can think that you're deleting all your stuff. They'll find it. More times than not, they're going to find it. There's a surefire way to be able to make it so they can't find anything, but I'm not going to tell you how to do that. But you'd have to pretty much write off your entire computer as gone.
Folders on that drive that had then been encrypted with another method. So this other method allows you to do individual files and folders. So BitLocker does the entire partition, and this method called encrypting file system, or EFS, another.
Bambi, yeah, he filed an appeal. He has an open appeal right now, actually.
Method built in Windows allows you to do specific files and folders, and there were a couple folders and their contents that had been encrypted with that method also.
And so in that second method, did any of those files or folders relate to anyone involved in this case?
Yes.
Good.
There was a folder titled My Dear Gypsy that had numerous videos from her, and that was the folder that was encrypted. One of them.
Are you familiar with Google Chrome?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is briefly?
It is a web browser.
Okay. And did the defendant use Google Chrome?
Yes.
Was there something about how Google Chrome was set up on these two computers that was of note?
Yeah, he had Google Chrome on both computers, and he was signed into his Google account on both of them. So when you do that, it allows data to sync back and forth.
I was sent his appeal yesterday early morning. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but it's quite lengthy. I can look at that and we can go live about it sometime if you guys wanted to see what he's trying to appeal compared to, I don't know what his previous ones were, but this one, I think it is related to his counsel that he had. But yeah, he does have an open one.
Between them. So the things you bookmark will show up on both, the passwords that you save will show up on both, and some of your web history will also be transferred from one to the other.
As you examined these computers and later the phones, did you see evidence of communication between the defendant, Nicholas Godejohn, and Gypsy Blanchard?
Yes.
Can you briefly describe, well, before I get to that, did you know, as you were looking at those communications and things on the computer, were there some things that are perhaps important to understand that will help us understand the communications?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
There were two things. One is they would refer to different aspects of their personalities as different names. So Godejohn would be Victor or my evil side, and Gypsy had names like Candy, Bella, Demona, Ruby, and there may have been some others. Secondly, they had what I've come to refer to as their signature salutation. So most of the time when they would stop talking to each other, closing out a conversation, they would say something to the effect of, I love, worship, and adore you. I may have that order wrong. And they would refer to each other as their twin flame soulmate. Most all of their communications when it ended had one or both of those.
Describe the types of communications just in general that you found.
There was messages from Skype between the two of them. There were stories, sexual stories that were saved on there that were privately exchanged, and there were numerous videos that they had recorded where they were talking to each other.
You mentioned Skype. What is Skype?
Skype is a communication program, so it can be used to do chat messages, chat communication. It can be used to do audio calls. It can be used to do video calls, and it can be used to do screen sharing, when you can show someone else your computer screen.
So if I were using Skype, might I text or chat with someone to say, hey, let's get online and talk to each other?
You could.
And then I might have a live session where we're just talking face to face.
Correct.
And the chat portion might be recorded, whereas typically the face-to-face wouldn't be. Is that fair to say?
Correct. There would be a record of the call taking place and normally how long it lasted, but what is said during that call is not recorded anyway.
And did you locate a Skype chat message which discussed when the defendant was discussing plans involving Gypsy's mother?
Yes.
I'm going to show you a disc from Mark and States Exhibit 158. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes.
Is that the disc on which we prepared the exhibit of that Skype chat message?
Yes.
And how do you know it's that disc?
My initials and DSN are on there.
So when we look at what's on the disc, is that going to appear just like it would have appeared on the screen for the user or something different?
No, it's going to be the software program I use, Internet Evidence Finder, essentially turns it into a web page and turns it into a grid. And so this is going to be just a screenshot of that grid of information.
Almost like a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Different columns. And so, for example, it might show when a live session started and ended.
Yes.
And then also show the type of chat and the contents of that chat.
Correct.
I move to admit States Exhibit 158.
The objection is noted. It will be admitted over objection.
We're going to blow up what's in the boxes, but just in general, this is that sort of table you were telling us about? Yeah. And this is from a chat that occurred, it's small here, but on March 29th of 2015.
Yep.
And it shows the author as Nicholas Godejohn.
Correct.
And the recipient as Allie Hope.
Correct.
All right, so having blown that up, would you go ahead and read the chat message to the jury from Nicholas Godejohn?
Gypsy went on a mother's type of group on Facebook and talked about our story on what we planned on doing. You see, me and her are planning on having a baby next year as a way to stay together, so her mom has no choice but to let us be together. But you see, I saw comments on her post to that group that was bad-mouthing me, and she just took it like, wow, okay, I'm a weight. And it
This girl's been wanting to have a baby forever. Ah, come on.
had to do with finding someone better than me.
Right, MW?
Were you able to examine the defendant's browser history or web history on these two computers?
Yes.
And can you just, in general, talk about what we mean by that, browser history or web history?
It would be the websites that were visited in Google Chrome.
And so is part of that just sort of looking at the history, like we would be familiar with in our computer or where we've been?
It would be, but there's some complications with it in this case.
Why don't you talk about that?
Okay, so that the cleaning program that I mentioned earlier, that was supposed to be wiping all of the web history, it was only wiping a portion of it. So when Chrome is pulling this information up, it pulls it from multiple different sources, and it was essentially only erasing one source. So we have web history, but it is not a complete picture of all of the web history. And then there's sometimes you don't know exactly which computer it was visited on because of the sync taking place between the two. But in addition to that, there is something called fav icons, which is short for favorite icons. So these are the icons that show up next to the title of the web page in the top menu bar or a tab. When you're looking at your history, it's the icons show up next to it, or bookmarks. They're normally, for most places, like the icon for a company or something if you're visiting a company website.
So like, for example, if I went to Walmart.com, that sort of yellow flower thing, symbol
Yes.
would be the icon.
Yeah.
Or if I went to Amazon.com, it might be that I can't figure what it looks like exactly, but their icon for their business.
Correct. So what Chrome does is it saves those icons, and then it saves the websites that were visited that were associated with those icons. With that, it saves the last time that the icon was updated. So you have a date and time associated with the icon, but you don't have a date and time associated with the specific sites that were visited. So when you have these dates and times, you know that they were visiting, like if you have one for Walmart, you know that they were on some form of Walmart site at that time, but you don't know specifically which part of Walmart they were on.
When you were looking at the browsing history and the fav icons, were you able to locate information about the defendant coming to Springfield, Missouri?
Yes.
Were you able to locate information where he browsed the sites looking at weapons or other articles that might be used in a murder?
Yes.
I don't remember Walmart's icon being a
And
yellow
we put those
flower.
things that you found together on a disk
Yes.
and information?
Yes.
And how do you recognize that as being that disk?
It has my initials in DSM.
I moved to United States Exhibit 159. I'll show that admitted in rejection. Right, so on this title slide, it's that for the desktop computer, and that Z number would be the evidence barcode number for that computer, correct?
Correct.
The first thing we're going to look at is some of those favorite icons from the desktop computer.
Yes.
And so the block that we've blown up there, that's just a blow up of what's underneath, right, on the chart.
Correct.
And so on March 16th of 2015, a visit to Springfield, Lily Swirl.
Correct. So that
Lord,
won't
that's so
necessarily be
blurry.
the specific time that that page was visited, but that would be a time that lillysforward.net was visited.
And then what's the second one that came up?
Flowerama of Springfield.com,
And the date.
March 16th of 2015. And copsplus.com/handcuffs.
Handcuffs?
And that is March 14th of 2015.
Then on
I
this
mean,
next
here,
page, we're still on the Chrome Fave icons.
I'm going to take those captions down just so you can see better.
That is something that Time Warner Cable does whenever you try to visit a site that is down or doesn't exist. So bondagetape.com was the site that was attempted to be visited, but it was either down or did not exist at that time. And that's March 10th of 2015, or May 10th of 2015. That's symtoys.com with bondage tape. Same name. And lovehoney.com, blog,
Oh, God.
2014, September 30, bondage tape. AlanEve.com, adult sex toys, kinky bondage, SP sex, mischief, bondage tape.
Now we're moving to part of the report that dealt with web history from the desktop computer, correct?
Correct.
Hey,
So
Acoustic
here
Shield.
is Walmart.com, March 19, 2015 at 3:28 p.m. With this one, it is unknown for sure which computer this visit would have happened on.
Yeah, I think you said March 19th. Did you mean
Oh,
May
sorry,
19th?
May 19, 2015.
From there, we're going to switch back to the Fave icons on the desktop computer. And did you find things associated with that visit to Walmart.com on May 19th?
Possibly on that day. So that is a Walmart.com search for bondage tape, a Walmart.com search for taser, a Walmart.com search for knives, this one is the search for knives.
Can you imagine being his parents and thinking you have this innocent son, and all of a sudden the search history comes up? Like, oh my God, I'd fall out of my chair.
On Walmart.com, but you see at the end category tactical knives. When you search on Walmart for knives, it gives you other options to narrow down your search on the side. Tactical knives is one of those categories, so category tactical knives shows he drilled down into that category. That is a specific entry for a specific knife. Another knife, and a third knife.
I'm going to switch to the laptop computer, and again, that Z number is the barcode number for that computer.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Favorite
Autistic Chill.
icons.
That is an Amazon page for double locking steel police handcuffs.
Date.
May 28, 2015, but again, that just shows that Amazon was visited at that time. There's no guarantee it's that specific website that was visited. And eBay.com, that is a search for tasers.
And the rest of these underneath that are also eBay searches for tasers, just with the small part of the search shown.
Yes. Taser, search for taser, a search for taser gun. That's a specific listing for a guard dog, 65 million volt police stun gun,
Jesus.
and a search for taser gun.
65 million
desktop.
volt.
Web history.
That sounds like it'd kill you.
That is a visit on May 31st, 2015 to Greyhound.com, specifically a page dealing with tickets and travel. May 31st, 2015, that's the same one. Then a visit for a page on baggage information, and then a PDF on their prohibited items list. That is a visit on June 3rd, 2015 to filmingcops.com/cases handcuffed girl to death.
On June 3rd, 2015.
Oh my God.
Another visit to Greyhound.com. With that specific one, we won't know exactly which device that one was on.
On June 7th, 2015.
Correct. And then on June 8th, 2015 at 7:46 a.m., a visit to taxifarefinder.com. And then just a short while later, a specific search for what was his address to the bus station in Milwaukee.
And going to the laptop web history.
Taxi Fare Finder, June 8th of 2015 at 7:46 a.m. And this is an example of one that was probably transferred during the sync. That's the exact same one on the other, but there was more detail on the other. That is June 9th, 2015 at 1:40 p.m. and that is the web page for the Days Inn in Springfield on I-44. All of that there is consistent with logging into the hotel Wi-Fi of the Days Inn in Springfield on I-44. And that was June 9th, 2015 at 5:42 p.m.
If I understand you correctly, so like when I go to the hotel and I check in and I want to get on the Wi-Fi, I turn on my computer, and when I do that, the first thing I have to do before I can go to Google or Amazon or whatever is I have to log in to the hotel's Wi-Fi system.
Yeah, most places require you to do that. That is a taxi fare finder, June 10th, 2015 at 1:01 a.m. for going from the Days Inn to 2103 West Volunteer Way. And at 1:14 a.m., a Google Maps lookup for that same address, the victim's address.
And so if I'm not familiar with Google Maps, it will allow me to go and look at either the map or even a satellite view of that location.
It could, yeah.
And that's at what time again?
1:14 a.m. on June 10th, 2015.
Then after that Google Maps, is there a break-in activity?
Yes.
and then back to the day's end,
Yes, at 10:17 p.m. that same day.
June 10th. So I want to talk about Exhibit 94, the LG phone with the flat screen on it.
Question. If there was a forensic examination done on you, what would be worse? Would it be your text messages or would it be your internet searches? What would you be more embarrassed or what would look the worst? Or, you would, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be like, oh shit.
Did you examine that?
Yes.
Were you able to, from its content, did you
Internet
identify its
searches?
user?
Yes.
How and who?
It was Gypsy's phone. The Google account.
Everybody's
was an
saying
Android phone.
internet
The
searches.
Google account.
Yeah,
linked
I
in
think
her
mine
name.
would be
There
too.
were email accounts added to it
Oh,
that were in her
Sophie's
name.
is-
There were outgoing text messages that never went through that said, "Hey, it's Gypsy." And then
Sophie's
there
is
were
text.
some
Huh.
selfies that were found on micro SD that was in the phone.
Were you able to tell if this phone had cell service?
I don't believe it did.
Why?
There were no calls, and there were no outgoing text messages that worked, and the only incoming messages were Amber Alerts and weather alerts, which you receive whether you have cell service or not.
Could that phone still then be used to communicate via SMS or text message with someone?
It
Yeah, mine would
could
be
through a
internet
couple of
searches
different
too.
ways.
Did you
Especially
find evidence
with
that this
true
phone had been
crime.
used in that way, in one of those ways? Tell us about that.
It can still be put on Wi-Fi, and on Wi-Fi you can use any app that would allow you to do that. In this case, she had Yahoo Messenger installed, and there were messages sent to cell phone numbers.
Did you also examine, we talked already, we've already admitted, Stacy Exhibit 79, the Kyocera flip phone. When you looked at it, were you able to tell who the user of that phone was?
Yes.
How?
There were messages addressing the user. It was Mr. Godejohn's phone. There were messages addressing the user as Nick. There was a contact list entry for mom, and I was told by investigators that that number was his mom's number, and there was a selfie taken with the phone.
As you looked at Stacy Exhibit 94, the LG phone, and the Stacy Exhibit 79, the Kyocera flip phone that was the defendant's, could you tell them those two devices that communicate?
They did.
How do you know that?
A conversation on the LG phone, the messages matched exactly with messages that were on the Kyocera phone. The Kyocera phone had more messages, but the messages that were still on the LG phone matched exactly.
And what messaging service was Gypsy Blanchard using on her phone?
She was using Yahoo Messenger on hers.
And so when I use Yahoo Messenger, when we look at these texts later, does it say this is from Gypsy, or how does that appear?
It just appears as a number. So the first time you receive if you're the person on the texting end, the first time you receive a message from someone through Yahoo Messenger, it comes from the number 924-665 and then 01. If a second person was to contact you, it comes through as 924-665-02. So in this case, he had two conversations, both 924-665-06 and 07. The 07 conversation matched up with the conversation from Gypsy's phone, and it actually switches back and forth. You can tell from the conversation that 06 is Gypsy also. I mean, it switches back and forth as their conversation goes on over a couple weeks.
And so with Yahoo Messenger, can I either do that from a mobile device like a phone, or also from a laptop or some other kind of computing device?
Correct. You could do that from anywhere you have access to Yahoo Messenger, whether it be a phone app, a computer app, or even their website.
And the messages you found, did those go back to May 27th?
Yes.
And for the disk we put together, does it end then on June 10th of 2015?
Yes.
And did we put together a disk that contains those text messages you found between the defendant and Gypsy Blanchard?
Yes.
Is that what is on this disk labeled States Exhibit 160?
Yes.
And you recognize that
Well,
disc?
thank you for
Yes, it has
becoming a
my initials in
member.
this.
And you've reviewed
I
it?
appreciate that
And does
so
it fairly
much.
and accurately capture that text conversation between the defendant and Gypsy Blanchard?
Yes.
Thank you so
And
much.
because it has that to and from that
And welcome.
624 number, did we add a box, a pink box with the label Gypsy for the ones from her phone,
Yes.
and a blue box for the ones with the defendant, for the ones from the defendant?
Yes.
I moved to admit State's Exhibit 160.
I'll show that admitted over.
And we inserted a slide with dates when we transitioned from one date to another. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then to aid the jury, would you please read the text to them?
Yes.
Can you see from where you're sitting, or would it be easier
I think so.
for us to put a chair over there?
I think I did.
Okay.
Beginning Wednesday, May 27th of 2015. Gypsy, what was it for, hon?
And that's just where the first text you could find started, correct?
Correct. Defendant, that was my evil side who did that. You know my good side would never call you that, hon. Maybe a bitch when you're being one, but that is all, hon. Well, it's all true, hon, and it was about voices in my head, but instead of getting rid of them, they became part of me, baby. How it works is based on my thoughts and feelings, dear. Depends on what part of me shows, honey. Gypsy, I understand, hon. But that don't mean I don't understand you. I do. Defendant, well, maybe after I explained it, you understand, sweetie. Otherwise, no one else understands, hon. Gypsy, well, I do. You understood me in my different ways. Defendant, well, we're supposed to understand each other if we just know how to express each other, dear. Heart emoji.
If we may, before we go any further,
I just want to double check since we're getting into these text messages. This speed's okay. It's at 1.25. It seems to be okay, but I don't know if it's too slow, too fast. I don't think it's too fast, but I'll keep it going at this speed. But if it needs change, let me know. And this is May 27th, so this is just a couple weeks before the murder. And I'll try not to stop it as much, so we can just get it going.
because the court reporter is recording everything he's saying, Mr. Passion, he's reading verbatim from 160. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you want the court reporter to report it exactly as he's reading it? Mr. Perry? I'm just trying to think. There's 800 of these.
I think it needs to be.
You do?
Yeah,
All right.
it's on record.
Okay.
Gypsy, sometimes I'm too expressive. LOL or laugh out loud. Defendant, not really, because expression involves details and you know I'm better at that, hun. Gypsy, yes you are, but I too want everything you do too. Defendant, what do you mean? Gypsy, everything you said you want, I want too. To be together. Defendant, honey, this is where we're different though. I don't just want everything with you, but I need everything with you for me to feel complete, sweetheart. Heart emoji. Gypsy, I need you too. Promise me the good part of you will never die. BTW, or by the way, I'm on FB too. FB is probably Facebook. Defendant, really dear, because at times I wonder if you mean me. Baby, it could never die. Gypsy, I do need you. It kills me to make you have to be on these ups and downs. Defendant, honey, you would not mind using a sweet name every once in a while. It helps me remember I'm worshipped, hon. Gypsy, sure, sweetie.
Worshipped.
Defendant, that's better, dear. Heart emoji. Gypsy, it's not that I don't worship you. I do, baby. I do, and I look forward to being with you. I'm just dealing with everything changing, hon. Defendant, about you or exactly what changes, dear? Gypsy, the move, the change that's coming. Darling, I'm scared. Defendant, scared of what, my love? Gypsy, of everything. I'm not good with change, baby. Defendant, everything? Sweetheart, we both have that in common when it has to do with moving, dear. Gypsy, I'm going to be okay. I just needed to calm down and take a breath. But darling, my feelings for you will never change. Heart emoji. I'm yours and you do make me happy. Defendant, I hope they never change because you scare me at times, dear. Heart emoji. I hope so, honey, because I put my mind, heart, and soul into being with you and making you happy, sweetie. Heart emoji. Gypsy, my feelings won't change, and though I have freakouts, I always come back to you, my love. I'm so sorry I scared you. I'll give you lots of love in the hotel, baby. Defendant, well, that's reassuring, dear. I needed that. Heart emoji. After doing what my evil side said, hun, Gypsy, I reassured you on FB too, hun. Heart emoji.
So sometimes does it appear that they're communicating on more than one format at a time, Facebook as well as texting?
Yes. Yes, baby. Defendant, okay, baby. Heart emoji. Gypsy, you said I'm guessing you have a correlation to that when I said it, dear. Heart emoji. Defendant, it's true, dear. I'm guessing you have a correlation to that when I said it, dear. Heart emoji.
Is it possible you just took a double picture of that one as you were photographing all this?
I may have. Gypsy, sorry, hon, I took a nap. Defendant, I thought you did, dear. Heart emoji. Gypsy, I hope you feel better now, hon, because I do. Defendant, I just needed to be reassured, hon. Heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, darling. Well, I love, adore, and worship you, my everything, and I'm not giving up.
Is that an example of that signature salutation you spoke of?
Yes. XOXOXOXOX, which is slang for hugs and kisses. Defendant, that's music to my ears, sweetie. Heart emoji. Gypsy, big smile. Defendant, dear, will there be less of these freakouts in person? Gypsy, yes, darling. When we're together, I will be a lot more relaxed. Mostly because we can use hugs, kisses, and body language to prevent it. Defendant, true, and sex will relieve us of the stress, dear. Gypsy, LOL,
God.
laugh out loud, that too, hon. Defendant, yes, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, a lot of our problems are we don't have a physical relationship, hon, so it's hard, hon. Defendant, true, I suppose most of our problems are physical related, dear. Gypsy, and I want you to know being with me won't be hell, it will be much better, sweetie. Defendant, when exactly, dear, since you got me curious? Gypsy, well, I'm going to start now, but I'll be all the way better when we see each other, hon. Defendant, all right, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, do I make you happy? Defendant, when you don't have your freakouts, yes, dear. Gypsy, maybe you might like me better in person. BTW, or by the way, I'm afraid of bugs, just so you know, hon. Defendant, bugs? Dear, there is no reason for that, and you know I'll worship you either way, whether in person or from afar. Heart emoji. Gypsy, I'm just letting you know my phobia is bugs and spiders. I always feel like crap after I freak out because we're caught in the middle. I can't stay even an hour away from me and you. Defendant, and spiders, that's also something harmless to you most of the time, hon. It's meant to be that way though, dear. Gypsy, it's just my fears, hon. So you take your little creepy buggy friends and escort them out the house. Defendant, exactly, dear. And don't worry about bugs, they're harmless, hon. Gypsy, so we're all cool, sweetheart? Defendant, yes, hon, it's just your freakouts that scare me, honey. Gypsy, we have that in common, hon. Defendant, of course we do, dear. Heart emoji. Thursday, May 28, 2015. Gypsy, we are all lovey again, my cutie pie. Defendant, that's great news, my Ellie. Heart emoji, smiley face emoji. Gypsy, aw, my dear Carl. Meet me on Facebook, my love. Defendant, hon, I'm glad you picked up on that reference, heart emoji. Gypsy, LOL, laugh out loud, nice job, cap up. Defendant, I knew you would catch on to it, dear. Gypsy, darling, will you tell me the movie you want to watch with me yet? Defendant, oh, the same one I have as a surprise? No, dear, it's a surprise. Gypsy, really? LOL, OMG, not that loud, oh my god. Do you have it? Defendant, no, but we'll buy it together, sweetie. Gypsy, okay, hon. Oh, if I show you
Same.
a YouTube clip of a TV show,
It's-
would
I don't
you
like
tell
it.
me if you would watch it with me, hon? Defendant, well, I have to see the clip first, dear. Friday, May 29th, 2015. Gypsy, hey, handsome. Defendant, hey, gorgeous. Gypsy, drool makes you horny, LOL, not out loud.
Ugh.
You're
Ugh.
weird.
God.
Defendant, baby, you'll understand when you experience it, heart emoji.
Ew.
Gypsy, darling, I'm safe. Long story, but tornado warning was issued. Defendant, that's good news, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, darling, can you please meet me online? We need to talk about our plan. Defendant, okay, honey, heart emoji. Gypsy, I'm still daddy's girl, hold me, and yes, it's kitty, daddy. Defendant, baby, why didn't you answer daddy before, as I hold you in my
Gross,
lap? Gypsy, I was taking tummy med to make me feel better, so I put my phone down. Saturday, May 30th, 2015. Defendant, okay, honey, just never change on daddy because I never want you to be anything but daddy's everything. As I
Here we were just saying how bad it was. But they kept saying dear and hun, and now we go to daddy. Like, oh God.
rock you back and forth in my arms on my lap. Gypsy, I won't change, daddy. I curl into your shoulders and cuddle. Defendant, I keep rocking you back and forth in my arms on my lap. Are you my same daddy's girl that I
Oh my God. You know what I just thought of? I really hope that they're not thinking that this is like a role play child dad, like, as in like father daughter, because that would be fucking disgusting.
reminded you of being in the past year? Gypsy, hey baby. Darling, does your house have any kind of car? I'm looking on Google Maps. Defendant, dear, it depends on how updated their world map is. Last time I looked, it wasn't the right vehicle. Gypsy, wow, it's a small place. LOL, not out loud. Defendant, yeah, it's small to a degree. Gypsy, I looked at the population and it's smaller than the smallest town I've lived in. I thought 7,800 was small. Defendant, like I said, it used to be a village, now it's a town. Gypsy, I'll adjust, LOL, not out loud. Besides, smaller, less trouble. Defendant, I hope so because it should be easy one to transcend to, hon, heart emoji. Gypsy, are you ready? Like in all ways, hon. Defendant, what do you mean, dear? Gypsy, for me. Defendant, if I wasn't, I wouldn't be so eager to be living with you, dear. Gypsy, I was supposed to get pregnant in a week and a half. Defendant, okay, hon, so what are you saying? Gypsy, I just feel sad I'm not. Defendant, oh, I see, hon. Gypsy, part of me is really worried about my tube. What if I could have it taken out being pregnant? Defendant, you said you would have it taken out. Gypsy, could you wait like 10 months for plan B?
What?
Defendant, so you want me to get you pregnant again?
Again?
Gypsy,
Wait a minute. What? Again? Was she pregnant before? Am I missing something here? Hold on. Sorry, I'm just going back for a second. Part of me is really. Yeah, exactly, Sophia. Again?
Gypsy, part of me is really worried about my tube. What if I could have it taken out being pregnant? Defendant, you said you would have it taken out. Gypsy, could you wait like 10 months for
Wait, Bliss Chris said she says she was, but miscarried. Oh, interesting. But then she wants plan B. Like, does she even know what the hell that is?
plan B? Defendant, so you want me to get you pregnant again? Gypsy, I'm getting it changed, hon. Defendant, oh, because for a second I thought you wanted me to get you pregnant again, dear. Gypsy, I just was wondering, does Big Ben have a hospital? Besides, I'm late on my period. Defendant, no. Okay. Gypsy, gotcha. Defendant, MHN, MHM. Gypsy, let's move to Milwaukee, smiley emoji. We can stay with your mom for a little. Defendant, Milwaukee, I'd rather be living in Waukesha, hon. Gypsy, okay, darling, we can look up apartments in Waukesha. And with the 5,000 I have, we will be set. Defendant, good idea, dear. Heart emoji. Gypsy, I don't need to marry you to live with you. So we can take our time with wedding. I saw Waukesha looks beautiful. And I can paint and sell my art. Defendant, dear, I know that, but you mean our 5,000. True, baby. Gypsy, yes, our darling. Smiley emoji. Gypsy, and who knows, maybe after a while we can have a ceremony like a wedding, hon. You would make a handsome groom. Defendant, and we'll live in my birth city, hon. Heart emoji. Hopefully live close to Woodlands so we get our groceries extremely cheap, dear. Heart emoji. Gypsy, Waukesha would be a dream come true, sweetheart. Defendant, hun, we're still going to follow our kind's traditions though, dear. Heart emoji. Gypsy, of course, darling. Defendant, I look forward to it, my dear. Heart emoji. Gypsy, I look forward to cuddles. I dreamt about it. And you gave me oral sex. Defendant, maybe so, but I look forward to kissing you. Heart emoji. As I will do in the future. Gypsy, blushes. Defendant, well, it's true, baby. Gypsy, will you give me my first orgasm soon, my love? Will you finger me on the bus? I desire pleasure too, hon. Defendant,
Jesus.
hun, I may be naughty on the bus, just depends on the moment, depends on how naughty, hun. Heart emoji. Gypsy, well, I'm going to touch you, winking face emoji. And I'm going to kiss you too, everywhere. Defendant, dear, I may give you permission to, heart emoji, winking face emoji. Gypsy, good darling, smiley face emoji. Defendant, as for the kissing, you know you can do that on my body, sweetie. Heart emoji. Gypsy, the first movie I want to watch with you is 50 Shades of Grey. I also think we should start with soft, wet anal sex before big time anal.
Oh my
Let's
God.
talk on Facebook. LOL, laugh out loud. Defendant, dear, I'll watch that with you to get us in the mood, which depends on the time. It could be a later movie, dear. As for anal,
Hey,
don't worry
Sam.
about that because it's my job as your master too, dear. Gypsy, you make my girly parts tingle. Defendant, I'm glad I do because I'm supposed to, hon. Gypsy, I'm thinking about you in a naughty way. Defendant, that's good, heart emoji. Sunday, May 31st, 2015. Gypsy, you're a great daddy, and thank you for doing the worst for the best of us. Defendant, you're welcome, my dear. Gypsy, looking at your movie likes and music, we couldn't be more opposite. I like country, you like metal. I like drama, you like comedy. Goodness, this is awkward. Well, I'll expand my interests. Defendant, those are just a few, hon. Gypsy, I do like the animated ones. Defendant, we have more in common than you may think. Gypsy, darling, please read what I said. Defendant, okay, hon. Gypsy, good morning, my love of my life. You know what? I'm going to start wearing a ring because I want to feel married to you, so one of my rings from the girly shop, Claire, will do. Defendant,
Claire.
okay, hon, and sorry I didn't answer until now. Gypsy, I need to tell you a secret, hon. Defendant, go ahead, dear. Gypsy, I never stopped sucking pedicure from a baby bottle. Defendant,
What?
baby, I already knew that. Gypsy, you know? How? Defendant, baby girl, seriously, do you not understand that I am with you spiritually? I experience everything with you, dear. Heart emoji. That's why there is no point in hiding things from me. Gypsy, oh, okay, hon. Are you with me when I'm naked? I'm going to church, hon. Defendant, okay, hon, and I'm with you at all times. Heart emoji. Gypsy, darling, I'm 100% with the plan. Defendant, what do you mean, dear? Gypsy, I'm in for it, hon. No doubts. Defendant, okay, darling. Gypsy, that's all just okay. I was expecting IDK, or I don't know, joy, I guess. Defendant, dear, of course I'm happy, heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, good, sweetie. What's your stepdad's name, just so I know? Defendant, Charlie, that is what it is, hon. Gypsy, okay, darling, cool. Defendant, yes, dear. Gypsy, please be online. Defendant, okay, darling. Monday, June 1st, 2015. Gypsy, so you won't end this? Defendant, I'm not saying anything besides it's a waste of time. Gypsy, get your ass back now. As I'm concerned, I'm going to rip you a new one. Defendant, that's not worth it. I always fight for us. It's your turn for once. Gypsy, me, how the hell am I going to fight if it's one-sided? What will I wear to
Struggle
impress
in
your
paradise.
folks? I'm going to go with you, goddammit. Defendant, I told you I'll let you know in person. Why do you say it that way? Gypsy, I'm me again. I'm sorry, my love. Defendant, dear, you gave me another scare. Gypsy, okay, well, good night, hon. I don't know what's wrong with me. Do you know? Defendant, come on, baby. I know you can bond with me better than that. I love, adore, and worship you, my dear true love. Gypsy, I just did it online. At the same time. I didn't mean it when I called a life with you trash. Defendant, dear, it's about the sex like I told you before. The sooner I give you a orgasm, the sooner you go back to your lovey-dovey, happy self, hon, heart emoji. But I just said it back to you, sweetie, heart emoji. Please say it back, sweetie, heart emoji. Gypsy, so sex is like a tranquilizer, LOL, laugh out loud. Defendant, baby, someday you'll how important it is in our life, heart emoji. Gypsy, just forget all I said tonight. Defendant, why you say that? Gypsy, I never meant any hurtful thing. I'm in self-destruction mode. When I'm like that, ignore me. Defendant, well, all I could do is hope you come back, honey. Gypsy, I want to be with you. Defendant, I know, dear, you scared me, though. I thought I lost you. Gypsy, you almost did. I think I'm bipolar.
Have a good
Defendant,
evening, Bliss
what?
Chris.
Baby, I don't want to lose you, though, and you told me that I couldn't ever lose. Now I worry I will. Gypsy, well, it's more I would push you away until you walked away. I can't leave, but I can make you leave. Defendant, baby, is that supposed to be comforting? Gypsy, in a way, yes, hon. Defendant, please don't push me away too hard, hon. Gypsy, is there medication for bipolar, hon? Defendant, baby, if I did let you take medication for that, are you thinking it would help? Gypsy,
If I did
how
let you
massive
take
migraine, I'm not
medication.
sure it could be the distance. Because I would have jogged to Wisconsin that night I met why. You. Defendant, so are you saying it will get better once we're in person? Gypsy, yes, darling, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'll still have mood swings, just not severe ones like tonight. Defendant, baby, please say it because I'm worried still, and it would be nice to be comforted right now. Gypsy, sweetie, please don't be worried. I'm not going anywhere. Well, I'm going with you, but I mean, I'm by your side, hon. The ups and downs will balance out with us being together in person. Defendant, you know what I want to do after tonight's scare, hon? Gypsy, have sex, LOL, laugh out loud, nudges your arm. Defendant, baby, do you remember the tangled post I gave you a while ago? Gypsy, of course, hon. You want to hit me with a frying pan, tongue sticking out emoji? Defendant, I want to do that right, just so I know you aren't going anywhere. Yes, the tangled post when both tied each other up. I wish I could just so you would be stuck with me, heart emoji. Gypsy, you are with a little red string, heart emoji, kisses your forehead. Defendant, how, hon? Gypsy, we are tied by our souls and hearts. I might tie you up in a kinky way, LOL, laugh out loud. Defendant, honey, I'm warning you though, you ever give me a scare like that in person, I will tie you up until I'm sure you aren't going anywhere. Because I want to make sure we never part, dear. Heart emoji. Gypsy, I won't do it in person. You're all I would have in this life. Hi, sweetie. I got rest and I'm myself again, baby. Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015. Gypsy, I'm 100,000% in, hon. I'm ready, truly. Defendant, why do you say that, baby? Gypsy, because I finally allow myself to accept you are my everything. I will go with you and live our dream. Defendant, okay, hon. Gypsy, darling, I am so sorry about last night. I'm completely different. I'm your woman. Defendant, okay, dear. Gypsy, and I will be truly your everything. I know I've been up and down, but darling, in 9 days, I'm yours forever. Defendant, true, hon. True, baby. Gypsy, and yes, I'm going to fight like hell for us, baby. Do you forgive me, darling? Defendant, baby, you have a couple questions to answer online. Gypsy, please read, hon. Defendant, okay, dear. Gypsy, BTW, by the way, I trashed my old show broken laptop. So we can just use one computer together, hon. Defendant, here I answered you. And what about all the memories of us on your computer, sweetie? Gypsy, I saved them, but fuck you.
Oh.
You don't get it, do you? Never mind. Defendant, dear, what the heck? Gypsy, I tried being there for you. All you do is make me cry. I give everything for you. Defendant, I was trying to be nice while explaining myself, then you say that. Dear, that was uncalled for. Explaining. Gypsy, I always put my best. And you say 90% bullshit. Defendant, baby, I don't only make you cry, I have given you plenty of happy memories. Gypsy, who puts up with your overbearing ways, your ridiculous political shit? Defendant, dear, I'm not trying to argue with you, so please stop. Gypsy, I was in a romantic mood, now you screwed that to hell. Defendant, well, sorry, I'll leave you alone. All you do is push me away. Gypsy, sadly, 10 minutes ago, all I wanted was to snuggle with you. Defendant, dear, just stop talking to me. You're only going to make things worse. Since apparently now I know I can't open up to you just because of that, you keep bitching. Gypsy, I opened up. I was what you wanted and you pushed me away. Defendant, yeah, you told me to F off. I guess I'll punch you back. Gypsy, why couldn't you have just been loving? I'm sorry, hon. Look, please don't fight. Just try to understand I was saying how much I need you. And you basically called me a faker. Defendant, I didn't push you away. All I did was explain and you told me off. If that is how you feel, then I guess I can't make you happy anymore. Sorry, I'm a failure to you. Gypsy, can we please talk online? Please, we're going to be living together soon. Shouldn't we at least try and make this work? You are safe from me now. I did the right thing. Defendant, dear, I hope you come back. Gypsy, you are free, sweetie. Heart emoji. You don't have a bitch of a girl now. Defendant, free, yes, free to die. Bye, my love. Gypsy, daddy, daddy, crying. What do you mean? Question mark. My love? Nicholas, answer me. Defendant, sweetie, if Bella doesn't come back, I don't want anyone else, so I'll end it. My darling daughter, just know that Daddy always worshipped you. Gypsy, in what? I don't understand, Daddy. Defendant, I'm gone. Bye, my everything. I'll miss you all, and time to end it all. Gypsy, wait, Daddy, wait. Please end us. You mean you won't be mine anymore? Defendant, what does my daughter want before I go to hell? Gypsy, I want you to stay with me. You said he was coming to get me. Defendant, Bella doesn't want me, so no one will have me but her, so I'll go to hell then, if I can't have her. Gypsy, she does want you. She needs you. You have had lots of girlfriends. You're handsome. Defendant, I'm done. Bye, my love. You say you need me, but you broke us off, so I cut myself off. If you don't stop me in time, because without you, I'm nothing. Gypsy, are you threatening to kill yourself? You can't. Defendant,
Hello,
why?
don't look back.
Gypsy, because if you do, then I will as well. Defendant, then come back before I do it, because you know I always back up my words. Gypsy, please, please don't do it, my love, please, please. I want you, I do, but I'm bad for you. Stay with me, please. Defendant, I'm about to put the blade on my wrist and let it bleed if you don't come back within the next 3 minutes. Gypsy, I'm here, my love, I'm back. Look, I'm going on FB now, for Facebook. Defendant, then I'll put the blade away for now. You better get online if you mean what you are saying. Gypsy, huge kiss for the one I missed.
And that's several hours later, right? The one on the left is 4:09 a.m. and the other is 6:11 p.m.
Yes. Defendant, okay, dear. Heart emoji, kissing face emoji, heart emoji. Sweetie, I hope you are on soon because I'm missing you, heart emoji. Gypsy, darling, I'm missing you too. Just let me take a small nap. Okay, baby, XOXOX. Defendant, okay, sweetie, sweet dreams, my darling, heart emoji. Gypsy, darling, I'm on now, but read a message sent to on our joint account. It's your cousin. He wants to go fishing. Defendant, okay, sweetie, heart emoji. Wednesday, June 3rd. Gypsy, hi, darling, I'm sorry I fell asleep last night without telling you good night. Defendant, it's all right, hon. I've noticed, though, you're on a lot less often than you used to be, dear. Gypsy, I explained, hon. I'm on right now, baby. Defendant, okay, sweetie. Thursday, June 4th, 2015. Gypsy, sending hugs and kisses. Defendant, thanks, sweetie. Sweetie. Gypsy, good afternoon, darling. Defendant, good afternoon, sweetie. Gypsy, oh my God, I had so many sex dreams of you last night. Defendant, of all different kinds, dear? Gypsy, yes, darling. Defendant, okay, sweetie. Gypsy, warning, I'm in a very sexual mood. Defendant, honey, you could be in a top-notch sexual mood throughout our life together and it wouldn't bother me, heart emoji. Gypsy, good, darling, you're going to need the energy. Defendant, why do you say that, baby? Gypsy, you pick it, hon. You pick it, hon. Gypsy, message for you. Defendant, babe, I'm already on, heart emoji. I had to restart my computer, dear. Gypsy, okay, darling. Friday, June 5th, 2015. Gypsy, darling, what color restraints do you want, black or pink? Defendant, dear, we're collecting them, but get black, sweetie, heart emoji. Gypsy,
Collecting
okay,
them?
darling. Saturday, June 6th, 2015. Gypsy, honey, I was wondering, say I wanted to have sex with a guy before leaving town, could I?
What?
It's just curious question, LOL, laugh out loud. Black or pink? Defendant, dear, we're collecting them, but get black, sweetie, heart
What the
emoji.
hell just happened?
Gypsy, okay, darling. Saturday, June 6th, 2015. Gypsy, honey, I was wondering, say I wanted to have sex with a guy before leaving town, could I? It's just curious question, LOL, laugh out loud. Okay, so I know you're territorial, but I'm being tempted sexually. Darling, can we talk online, please? I'm guessing you're napping. I thought you wasn't getting my text, hon. Defendant, I didn't hear them though, dear, since my phone was on vibrate. Gypsy, he agreed to meet up. We are going to get coffee at this cupcake place Thursday, so that will close that. It's a public place, so all good, hun. Defendant, dear, still, I'm told I'll be around in the area of it to make sure he don't do anything, and you have to accept that. Gypsy, okay, darling. Gypsy, what time does our bus leave Thursday, hon? Defendant, 6:13 p.m. dear. Or I may be off a few minutes, darling. Gypsy, okay, hon. I found the flogger. Defendant, that's good news. Gypsy, I miss you, hon, so much. Heart emoji, my heart is racing. I miss you, hon, so much. Heart emoji, my heart is racing. Defendant, why is your heart racing? Gypsy, because I can't wait to see you. Defendant, then we feel mutual, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, darling, you have an important message. Defendant, okay, baby. Sunday, June 7th, 2015. Gypsy, darling, I was caught on my phone but made my mom think I was during her phone. So I have to lay low until Wednesday. Defendant, okay, dear, just try to text me when you can. Gypsy, okay, baby. We can talk on Skype, hon. Please? Defendant, okay, baby. Monday, June 8th, 2015. Defendant, sweetheart, just wanted to say that I'm missing you and also that I love, adore, and worship you, my everything. Gypsy, hi, darling. I'm so sorry I didn't say goodnight. I was made to sleep on the front porch with bugs. I peed in the bushes. It's been rough. Darling, I'm not even sure of the password, but if it's not one angel heart, it would be my name, Gypsy Rose, or one Gypsy Rose. The good thing is if you forgot it, at least have your confirmation number down in the card it was purchased with, hon. They can look it up. Defendant, okay, baby, I was hoping you would have said our sacred words, but thanks for your help, hon. Gypsy, YW, my love, or in love, YW is normally you're welcome. Gypsy, and I will text you, hon. Defendant, okay, dear. Gypsy, I love, adore, and worship you, my everything. Defendant, I love, adore, and worship you too, my everything times infinity, heart emoji. Gypsy, aw, heart emoji. Defendant, baby, I called the cab company and everything is going well, heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, sweetie, good. Smiley face emoji. I just ate, feel a lot better now, smiley face emoji. Defendant, okay, honey, heart emoji.
You mean good, honey?
Sorry, good, honey, heart emoji. Gypsy, I can't believe you was able to go. Your mom is okay with it? Defendant, dear, it doesn't matter if she is okay with it or not. I'm my own man, honey, heart emoji. Gypsy, I know, sweetie, if she knows you are escorting me back with you, it should be fine, hon. Defendant, she'll know within time, honey, heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, darling, you have lots of guts, heart emoji. Defendant, I told you already, dear, nothing is keeping us from being together, and I meant it when I said that, heart emoji. Gypsy, so do I, heart emoji. Okay, sweetie, text me soon to give me an update, heart emoji, kiss, heart emoji. Defendant, will do, my love, heart emoji, kissing face emoji, heart emoji. Dear, my stepdad is taking me to the bus station instead, heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, sweetie, heart emoji. Defendant, dear, look at your email. I need to know the reference number. Gypsy, 569-28685. Defendant, thanks, sweetheart, heart emoji. Gypsy, I got yo back on YW or you're welcome. Defendant, I got your back too, heart emoji, update. I'm at the bus station waiting for my time to get on the bus. Gypsy, is it all good? You got the tickets, hon? Defendant, dear, please go with the story I told my mom and stepdad. Yes, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, please let me know what story. Defendant, I'll tell you in person, dear, because I'll be able to explain it better than, heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, darling, heart emoji. I'm not saying a word on Facebook to anyone. Defendant, that's good, darling, heart emoji. Gypsy, making up a song on the road to destiny, la la la. Defendant, interesting, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, I have been on a bus from Hyannisport to Boston. I enjoyed it. Defendant, interesting, hon. Gypsy, is Big Bend and safe place to live, hon? Defendant, darling, you almost never hear of crime in Big Bend. Gypsy, that's wonderful. Defendant, yes, baby, heart emoji. Gypsy, you might think I'm spoiled by how my room looks, a closet full of name brand clothes. Defendant, I already know you're spoiled, hon, heart emoji. Gypsy, LOL, laugh out loud. Defendant, I knew that would make you laugh here, heart emoji. Gypsy, my heart is like boom, boom, boom. I don't think it knows how to be calm when you're going to be with me. Defendant, LOL, laugh out loud. That's a good thing, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, Darling, I'm going to go to the ER, get my tube changed. I'll be off my phone for a few hours. Defendant, okay, hon, be safe, heart emoji. Gypsy, you too, sweetheart. Defendant, all right, darling, heart emoji. Defendant, update, dear, I'm on bus to Chicago. Update, darling, I'm on my way to St. Louis.
About 4 hours later.
Yes. Update, dear, I'm at the bus station of Champaign, Illinois, hope to be in St. Louis soon. Gypsy, darling, I'm home. Defendant,
Oh.
that's good, dear, heart emoji, I'm glad you made it. Gypsy, it was a 6-hour wait in the ER. Defendant, wow. Gypsy, at least it's done, so we're good for a year. It can be done even by me, but I won't unless I have to. I missed you, baby. Defendant, I missed you too, sweetheart, heart emoji. Honey, sorry I didn't answer right away. I didn't feel it vibrate, dear, heart emoji. Dear, I guess you are either busy or not online anymore. I guess you aren't able to keep me company right now. I hope you are back soon because I'm already missing you, hon. Gypsy, hi, sweetie, I'm here, heart emoji. I just ate and took a bath, hon. Are you listening to your iPod, hon? Defendant, yay, I'm glad you are, heart emoji. Gypsy, LOL, or laugh out loud. Defendant, okay. No, baby, just waiting for a text from you and paying attention to my surroundings, heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, sweetheart. Well, I was able to make peace with Mom. Defendant, I knew you would. I believed in you that you could do it the full time, dear, heart emoji. Gypsy, I feel better, heart emoji. I just can't believe your life in Missouri, and it's so overwhelming in a good way. Defendant, I hope in a good way, hon, heart emoji. Gypsy, yes, darling, in a great way, hon. I feel so excited. Defendant, I'm glad we feel mutually about the situation, darling. Heart emoji, smiley face emoji, heart emoji. Gypsy, tomorrow is the last night we sleep alone. Defendant, true, baby. However, I'm going to pay for nights separately, heart emoji. Gypsy, okay, hon. Defendant, so the night you come to the hotel is another separate night from tomorrow, dear, heart emoji.
Lydia says, I have seen this part. Remember, Dee Dee's death certificate says she died on the 9th. Nick does not arrive until the 10th. What do you think about that? I'm curious. That's interesting. When did they? Well, how did they? Jeez, death certificate says she died on the 9th. Nick does not arrive until the 10th. But even though Nick said that he stabbed her 4 times, because didn't he confess to at least 4 times that we know of? This is, that's interesting. I've always had this odd feeling that there was more involvement with Gypsy and that whole, um, yeah, I knew that there was a lot more stab wounds, but, I know that he confessed to at least 4, and then he doesn't remember account to the rest of them. But, I don't know. I've always felt that there was more involvement with her that is I don't know if it'll ever be told. And you think that if there was more information, if he's trying to win an appeal or something that you'd hear about it. But surprisingly, I've not heard anything from him.
Darling, as you know, I'm trying to save as much money as I can, heart emoji. Gypsy, I know, baby, and you don't need to pay for me to sleep with you at the hotel. I will sneak with you. Defendant, I know, dear, that's what I plan on doing, heart emoji. Gypsy, good, hon. Defendant, dear, don't deny it. You even knew that was what I was planning on doing, heart emoji. Gypsy, well, yeah, I'm your gal. Bring me back to your hotel, wink, wink. Defendant, with pleasure, my dear. Heart emoji, winking face emoji, heart emoji. Yet you are busy, hon. I guess you aren't able to keep me company right now again. I hope you're back soon because I'm already missing you again, hon. Gypsy, bites, lip, squeaks. I'm back, hon. Defendant, LOL, laugh out loud. Nice way to come back, sweetie. Heart emoji. Tuesday, June 9th, that should be 2015.
How about a break? I think they're ready. All right. Court again reminds you what you were told at the first recess of the court. Until you retire to consider your...
Gypsy, hey,
So this is the the second part of the text message. This one is 53 minutes. Do you want to continue with this, or do you want to come back to it tomorrow and finish the rest of these text messages and Gypsy's Gypsy's testimony? You guys let me know. Gypsy's hold on, let me see. Real quick. So this one is 53. And then Gypsy's testimony is why is this? Let's see. Hers is 29 and 52. Then there's a couple psychologists, but we won't cover those ones tomorrow regardless. So you guys let me know if you would want to combine the rest of these text messages with Gypsy's, or if you want to continue, or we can even take like a break and come back later this evening. It's really up to you guys what you guys want to do. Let me see here. Thought that the medical examiner, I'm looking at the trial real quick, because I thought that the medical examiner was in the first few days, but I'm not seeing him at all which is odd. You don't mind if we keep going? Okay. We can do that. So let me put this back up. Thank you so much, Autistic Shill. I appreciate that. Because I don't mind either way. I just wanted to whatever's convenient for you guys. So
I can't help it. You're a sweetie.
keep rocking and rolling.
Defendant, well then, would a
Autistic Shill, if you don't mind just watching the chat, I'm gonna run Kuma Potty real quick.
sweetheart like a sweetie? Heart, winky face. Gypsy, I would, sweetie. Defendant, then ask daddy politely, sweetheart. Heart, winky face. Gypsy, may I have daddy's sweetness, please? Defendant, yes, you may, dear, but warning, once you taste it, you won't want anything. You'll be so addicted to it, darling. Heart, winking face, heart, smiling face. Anything else?
I'm gonna keep the video going.
I'm fine with being daddy's little addict, winking face. Defendant, that's daddy's girl, heart. Gypsy, LOL, laugh out loud. Defendant, why the laughter, hon? Gypsy, because I'm so happy. Defendant, that's a great reason, dear, heart. Gypsy, smiley face, heart. Defendant, LOL, laugh out loud, heart, smiling face, heart. Gypsy, sweetness, I'm gonna go take my meds. Defendant, okay, dear. Update, I'm in St. Louis, honey. Gypsy, yay. Defendant, yes, dear, heart. Update, sweetie, I am about to be on my way to Springfield, heart. Update, sweetheart, I'm on my way to Springfield now, heart, smiling face. Gypsy, my heart just leapt out now. Defendant, why is that, hun? Because I want to know why, dear. I hope it's a good reason, dear, or you'll worry me. Please tell me soon, honey. You don't need me worried about you. Gypsy, darling, it's 'cause I'm so happy. You're near, heart. I'm perfectly wonderful. Defendant, okay, dear, I was scared for a moment there, but now I'm blissful, sweetie. Heart, smiling face, heart. True, baby, I'm getting close. Heart, smiling face. Gypsy, so am I, darling. Heart. Defendant, great, because that's always how I want you, honey. Heart, smiling face. Gypsy, try and get some sleep on the bus, hun. Defendant, nah, I'll just get it at the hotel, sweetie. Heart. Gypsy, okay, darling, well, I'll check back later. I may sleep for a bit. I think you get to town at 5:15. Defendant, okay, baby, you know I'll keep you updated. Heart. Gypsy, darling, I don't think the hotel takes check-ins until 11. Defendant, no, they do. I'll just have to pay a little bit more, hun. Just pay a bit more, hun. Gypsy, okay, darling, good. BTW, or by the way, the taxi number is 417-862-5511. Defendant, yes, sweetie. Heart. And I'm walking to the hotel. I've done it before, and it saves money. Heart. But thanks for the number, hun. Heart. Defendant, update. I'm in Springfield, baby. Heart, smiling face, heart. Gypsy, yay. I was asleep, LOL, or laugh out loud. You're at the hotel, hun? Defendant, yes, sweetie, but it was extra expensive. Gypsy, that's fine, hun, as long as you're safe. Defendant, I'm safe, hun, but I may barely make it to you tomorrow. I'm under $200. Gypsy, you'll make it. How much is a night tomorrow, hun? You're not far from me, maybe 4 miles. Defendant, well, I had to pay $140 for one night because I was early here. Gypsy, unless you want to do it tonight, like the late part of the night? Question mark. It would have to be. It's the only way to get you money and everything go like we planned. Defendant, 50 of the dollars I should get back though because it's a safety deposit, hun. It all matters on the soonest you want to see me, hun. Gypsy, tonight, hun, your mom is like pissed and worried. Call her. She messaged me to get you to call her now. Defendant, I already talked to her, dear. Everything is fine. You need to answer my question though, honey. Heart. Gypsy, I will text you. We are doing this tonight, hun. It won't be until later, like in the AM times, so get your rest, darling. Defendant, baby, should I still get the room tomorrow? Gypsy, well, we would have more money, so yes, hun. Heart. Defendant, what about sneaking you in, dear? Gypsy, I will, hun. I am not forbidden from your room. Defendant, you mean we will, dear. Heart. Baby, you won't be. Heart. Gypsy, yes, we will, hun. Did you bring your computer, hun? If you look up where you're at in my house, we are close. Defendant, honey, you know I always bring my computer. Heart. Gypsy, okay, good, hun. I just told your mom you're perfectly fine. Defendant, that's good, dear. Heart. Gypsy, hun, does he require just the Groves and knife? Defendant, hun, that side of me expects duct tape too to muffle her. Gypsy, okay, baby, we have that. I'll pre-cut it. Defendant, that's good, dear. However, he expects you to give him the full roll. Gypsy, I will. We only have black bondage tape and Minnie Mouse duct tape. Defendant, he said the Minnie Mouse duct tape, hun. Gypsy, okay, hun. Defendant, dear, I should ask you this before he has to. Is your mom a light or deep sleeper? Gypsy, light, hun. Defendant, okay, dear. Now he's excited. Gypsy, she sleeps on her tummy, like I said, but light sleeper, hun. The shit's gonna go down tonight, Ruby said. Defendant, what does she mean by that, dear? Please let me know as soon as you can, hun. Gypsy, it means it all happens tonight. Defendant, how does Ruby feel about it, hun? Gypsy, she keeps me numb in order to cope and survive, hun. Keeping me focused. Defendant, okay, dear, I guess she seems to be learning how to deal with him slowly then, Art. Gypsy, for motivation's sake, bring your A game, hun. This is life with me on the line. Yes, hun, each part is a slow lover and learner, maybe not Candy. Defendant, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing. Why you say that about Candy, dear? Gypsy, she loves fast, LOL, or laugh out loud. Defendant, so she'll attach onto him instantly, dear? Yes, I mean my dom side, dear, Heart. Gypsy, exactly, hun. Defendant, okay, baby, as long as it's only to him, and she would use other guys, or he will see to put her in her place quickly, dear, Heart. Gypsy, that's right, hun, Heart. Defendant, good, dear, Heart. Baby, please make sure to read that last message and answer it, please, Heart. Gypsy, hi, sweetie, just checking on ya. Defendant, hey, dear, I miss you too, Heart. Guess you didn't have time to answer me, hun. This night is going by slow. Gypsy, aw, I'm preparing. Defendant, I see. TTYL, talk to you later, I guess, hun. I say this because you're obviously busy. Gypsy, LOL, laugh out loud, okay, baby. Defendant, why the laughter? I don't get it. Defendant, no explanation, I see. Today is really falling apart. Wow. Obviously, you are not as lonely without me as I am without you because you are not truly communicating with me, and you have no clue how painful it is to me, or you wouldn't be laughing at me, sad face. Gypsy, darling, I'm getting naked in the tub. I was only excited. I'm not laughing at you, I'm just
Yeah,
happy.
it is a smartphone, Kendra.
I'm in the tub, hun. Defendant, sorry, dear, I guess I'm just missing you too much. It's overwhelming me, Heart. Gypsy, I left the gloves outside the front door and the screen door is squeaky, so try to open it just enough to get in and close it gentle. I miss you too soon, sweetheart. I'll hand him the knife and duct tape inside, darling. It's pre-cut and ready. Does your mom know about me going back with you, hun? Defendant, dear, you're telling all this to my evil side since he is the one agreed to do it. Dear, I was open to her about that a long time ago, and she is letting me make life decisions by myself with you, hon. She trusts me. She just doesn't know the full, dear, Heart. Full plan. Full plan, dear. Does her floor squeak, hun? Yes, he wanted me to ask you. Gypsy, no, hun, it's all carpet. Tell him my private parts are shaved.
Oh,
Defendant,
God.
okay, baby, he is excited to do this. What about the rest of your bottom half? Is what he had me ask you. Gypsy, I will do my legs as soon as he knocks, hun. Defendant, okay, baby, don't be alarmed if he speaks, because yes, it sounds evil, hun. Gypsy, okay, darling. I'm gonna go eat, hun. Defendant, that's daddy's good girl, Heart, smiley face. Gypsy, I'm doing my
Leave the
nails too,
autistic shield.
winking face. Defendant, well, dear, did say he expects you to look like his woman should, so that is a good idea, darling, Heart. Red fingernail polish, hun? Dear, to please him, I suggest you wear red lipstick too, hun, Heart. Just trying to help you out, baby, Heart. Gypsy, I don't have any, hun. I'm painting a dark pink, hun. It goes with my pink boots. Defendant, lip gloss, hun? Possibly pink, if you want him to be a magnet to you, Heart. Well, pink makes him a magnet to you, dear, Heart. Gypsy, I have pink lip gloss, hun. Defendant, If you want him to be a magnet to you, then wear it, dear. Heart. Gypsy. Okay, hun. Defendant. So will you, hun, or how do you wish to present yourself to him? Answer that question when you get the chance to, dear, as long as you answer it. Heart. Hun, you still haven't
So
answered
weird.
that question. I'm still waiting. Gypsy. I'll just be in my nightgown with painted pink nails and lip gloss. Defendant. Okay, dear. But when he gets you from the bathroom, I suggest you are naked when he sees you after the deed. Gypsy. Okay, darling. I won't say goodnight online. I want to say it in person, hun. Defendant. That's understandable, darling, along with our first real goodnight kiss, sweetie. Heart. Gypsy. Exactly, daddy. Defendant.
Like, what do you guys consider this evil side, this personality that he has? Like, did they ever like mention this? I mean, because obviously this is the first time that I'm seeing this trial. Um, it's it's giving me flashbacks to the troubled um oh god, I don't even want to say the name. It makes me shudder. But if you were in the anti-KJ community a few years ago, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But it's like a DID um trait, personality disorder. Um I don't even, oh god, I don't even want to say the name, but uh I don't know, like what is up with this personality that he's this evil side? Because I'm sorry, it's not you can't say it's a bullshit excuse. Or you can say it's a bullshit excuse. Like, you can't go commit these crimes and just be like, oh, it's an evil side. Like, is this some sort of, I mean, he's well aware of what he's doing and how this person acts. Like, what is it? Like, what is happening? I don't understand.
Aw, that never gets old when you call me daddy, sweetie. Heart. Gypsy. Smiley face. You should get some sleep, hon. Mom goes to bed at like 4 a.m. Defendant. Honey, I got too much sleep already. Gypsy. Okay, darling. Heart. I'll wear you out, winking face. Defendant. Hon, don't forget you got to deal with my evil side first before we have our fun. So he may wear you out because if you forgot, he is the most sexual part of me. Heart. Please don't forget that, dear. Then I wear you out even more, honey. Heart. Gypsy. Okay, darling, I understand. Defendant. I'm glad you do, baby. I'll enjoy just being able to touch your silky skin. Heart. Gypsy. I can't wait to be with you too, darling, but you know, if you want to wait for sex, we have all day tomorrow, just so you know. You know, after my deal. Defendant. Honey, our nicknames as a couple is Mr. and Mrs. Sex. So what do you think I'm thinking, dear? Gypsy. I know what you're thinking, hon. I have me as much as you can. Defendant. Darling, see, we're true to our nicknames as a couple, honey. Heart. Because I know you won't want it any other way, honey. Heart. Right, dear? Winking face? I guess you're not there, hon. Hope you're back soon. Gypsy. Right, darling, but can we take our time, hon? Defendant. We will be able to at the hotel, sweetheart. Heart. Gypsy. Okay, good, sweetheart. Heart. I hope I look pretty. Defendant. Honey, you'll always look appealing to me. Heart. Gypsy. I hope so, hon. I'm shaking. I am nervous. I guess it's the if it all goes okay. Defendant. Baby, it will, and you better than not just romantic wife of mine, but also my twin flame female daughter soulmate that you were meant to be, honey. Heart, smiley face. Gypsy. I am, daddy, just as a backup. If it doesn't go right, run out of the house as fast as you can, hon. Defendant. Baby, there is no other option. He is going to finish her no matter what. That is how he is. Gypsy. Okay, darling, he is brave. I respect and admire that. Smiley face. Okay, darling, he is brave. I respect and admire that. How's the bed? Is it soft, hun? Defendant. Honey, you forgot, though, he is ruthless, and his hatred of her will force her to die, hun. You'll enjoy it, baby. Art. Gypsy. What will you be wearing, hun? Defendant. Something that will terrify her, hun. It's all black, and my evil side picked the full outfit, darling. Gypsy. Okay, darling, I just have to remember it's still you. Defendant. Yes, just the darkness in me, dear. Just like Ruby is the darkness in you, honey. Art. Gypsy. But after we comfort each other. Defendant. After we do that, sweetheart, I'll hold you like the baby girl of mine that you are. Art. Gypsy. And we will be happy soon after this night. We never bring it up. Defendant. Baby, we wouldn't accept for the part about us meeting, honey. Art. Gypsy. Right, hun. Defendant. I knew we were clicking on the right honey. Art. Right tone. Right tone, honey. I'm not sure what that character is supposed to be. Defendant. Heart. Sorry for confusing you, dear, but I hope you know what I meant. Heart. Hopefully you answer soon, dear. Wednesday, June 10th, that should be 2015.
No worries,
You know, to say
Kendra.
with the last one, the Tuesday, right? Should be 2015.
Yeah. Gypsy. I know what you mean, hun. It's getting close to time. She took her sleep aid pill. Defendant. Okay, baby. I'm trying to calculate the money for the ride there. Gypsy. And once you're inside the house, we stay silent, not even a whisper, until after I open the bathroom door. Okay, sir? Okay, hun? Probably $10? Defendant. Dear, never underestimate his will to kill, and also save your address so I make sure I have the right one. Heart. Gypsy. I just want to say this, thank you. You're my hero, Heart, and I will never leave you. I'm staying with you for eternity. 2103 West Volunteer Way, Springfield, Missouri, 65803. Defendant. Okay, baby, but he hasn't said anything yet, dear. Thank you, sweetheart. Heart. Gypsy. My house has the ramp, and the front porch ramp is painted white. Defendant. Okay, dear. Gypsy. YW, you're welcome, my twin flame soulmate. Heart. I have said my I love you to her. I'm at peace. Defendant.
Gosh,
I'm proud of you,
that's
sweetie,
deep.
and I'm glad I could help. Heart. Smiley face. Gypsy. Will you need a anxiety med to calm you after, hun? You are the most important person to me, sweetie. You are like me. Fight for what you want and need. Defendant. Dear, I don't believe in meds in me. I seem to be immune to them, but you just do what I taught you, and I'll calm down if it is me. But just listen and obey my evil side, and you'll calm him down within time. Heart. To them. Gypsy. I hope he loves me too, not just Ruby. I hope he loves me too, not just Ruby. I got pain med for my back, and I exercise my legs, so I'm a bit weak walking, but I'll build strength. Defendant. No, you mean to say you're like Daddy. It could be part of why you're a daddy's good girl, but you're more like Daddy than you may realize, dear. Heart. Gypsy. I'm not used to my weight of walking. Gravity is new. LOL. Laugh out loud. Defendant. I believe in you, honey, as I always have, so I know someday you'll walk completely normal. Heart. Gypsy. I just realized the next New Year's I'll be able to kiss you. Smiley face. I never had a New Year's kiss. I need to practice kissing. We are like two fish going for one hook. She's drifting off to sleep. Is there anything you need to know, hon? Defendant. And as for him loving you, my evil side does. However, you must obey him without question unless you don't know what to do. Otherwise, obey him without question, dear, and someday he'll worship you. 2. Heart. Baby, we're natural at kissing, we just need time to prove it. Heart. Gypsy, would he allow me to wet his more penis before he takes me, hun? I don't know if he's gonna do anal or vag. I was hoping to do anal with you first. Defendant, not that I can think of, dear, except you're letting him in the front, darling. Gypsy, because at the hotel we can go slow. Oh, and you may not need to put on the gloves because we will sink it so it's never found. And yes, front. Defendant, dear, when he rapes, he takes all parts of the body, so he'll most likely do anal to you, hun. He is still going to put the gloves on, dear. Gypsy, will he at least put saliva so I don't get traumatized, hun? Defendant, remember to take my words to heart, dear. Just listen and obey him without question, and he won't traumatize you. But if you aren't a good girl, he will then do it. It just depends on how well you listen to him, dear heart. Gypsy, I'll listen to him, darling. It's go time. Are you ready? No matter what, I'm yours forevermore. Defendant, and thanks for answer the question, hun. So should I call the cab, dear? Gypsy, I love, adore, and worship you, my everything. Yes, darling, call the cab. Defendant, I understand, dear, as I am the same. Heart. I love, adore, and worship you too, my everything times infinity. Heart, smiley face, heart. Defendant, okay, baby, heart. See you soon, dear, heart. Gypsy, BTW, by the way, the gloves are blue, and how long must I hold my ears, hun? Defendant, 5 at the most, dear, and the next text will be from him, heart. Gypsy, okay, darling, I'll talk to you when this is all done. Defendant, yes, hun, heart. Gypsy, sir, will you text me once you're at the door with gloves on? She's sleeping very light. Defendant, I'm here and you get your ass to the bathroom, you open the door.
What time is that?
2:07 a.m. Gypsy, yes, sir, I'm going now, sir. Breeze once.
No further questions. Me? Questions?
Man.
And going through some of those text messages, I guess at one point Nick says, I'm safe, hun, but I barely make it to you tomorrow. I'm under $200.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. From what you remember,
Yes.
suffice to say there was concern about not having enough money.
It appears so.
And Gypsy moved the date out to one day to make sure they had enough money, correct?
I object. The exhibit speaks for itself.
Your Honor, I'll withdraw that question. Officer Costello, you testified earlier that you mark what's important and present it to the investigators, correct?
Try to, yes.
Okay, so you read through things and you kind of analyze it as you're going along.
It depends on what it is.
Okay. Did you analyze this type of stuff in this case?
Yes, but there's a difference between going through every little bitty thing and it generally. So like a lot of times I will give, like if there's a long conversation, I'll let the investigator read the conversation. I'll provide that to them to go through, even though I pulled the conversation off of one of the devices.
Okay. So you do more than just pull the conversations off the devices. You read through them, figure out what the detectives need to look at.
Sometimes, not every time.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that I deal with that ends up having thousands of messages involving people that I don't know who they are. So it's easier to have the investigator go through all of that than for me to.
Okay. But in this case, you went through quite a bit of it.
I took the pictures of the messages. I try and let them determine what messages are important. Obviously, with the Skype chats, those are messages between the two of them. That's obviously important. But some other things that take an extensive period of time to go through, I would let them do that.
Okay. Now, there were other conversations between Nick and Gypsy going on outside of what was in these text messages, correct?
Yes.
Could have been a Facebook conversation going on.
I don't have any of the Facebook conversations on the evidence that I analyzed.
Okay, there could have been a Google conversation going on somewhere.
Yeah, anything that's normally done in a web browser normally does not save to the computer.
Okay, so there could have been several different conversations between Nick and Gypsy going on at the same time in different formats.
Correct.
So we're only getting a glimpse of what their conversation was over those handful of weeks.
These are the conversations that I was able to come up with. How many others that there are, I don't know.
Okay. So that's why we don't have much context of what they're talking about, correct?
The context is what you saw.
Okay. And that's why it's a little bit confusing sometimes what they're talking about.
Yeah, I will let you be the judge on that.
Okay. There was a point where Nick's mom, I guess, contacted Gypsy. She was worried about Nick, presumably, correct?
There were messages indicating that.
Okay, so they were talking about Nick's mother, not Gypsy's mother, from what you could gather.
I believe so.
And how many phones have you gone through and analyzed before?
Like in my career,
Yes.
hundreds.
Hundreds, okay. Hundreds of computers as well?
Probably, yeah.
Would you say that the verbiage, the text, what you read is similar to what would be found in a 13 or 14-year-old boy or girl's phone?
Object speculation relevance.
Well, if you've analyzed a 13-year-old boy or girl's phone, how lie to answer do you think you should?
I don't pay attention to that kind of context in the conversations.
Thank you, sir.
Anything further with this witness? Just one question is, in your experience, would it be normal for 13 and 14-year-olds to talk about dominant, submissive relationships in their texts?
Not normally.
Mr. Reed, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. May I reserve this for next week?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, officer. Do you have an additional witness?
We have one short witness.
All right.
Your Honor, the state calls Willie Carroll.
All right.
May I have Mr. Carroll come up?
Yeah. And do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Thank you. Can you please state your name?
Willie Carroll.
Mr. Carroll, how are you currently employed?
I am currently a network engineer with the Greene County IT department.
What does a network engineer do?
The infrastructure of the network. We installed this IP or this AP in here not too long ago, so
I don't know what an AP is.
your wireless access.
Okay. And how long have you had your current job?
I've been doing that since the end of July of this year.
What did you do before that?
I was a corporal with the Greene County Sheriff's Office.
And how long were you with the Greene County Sheriff's Office?
19 and a half years.
What were your duties as a corporal?
For the last 10 of that, it was the custodian of records for the inmate phone system, which included the inmate tablets and the video visits and everything that went with the tablets.
And
Prison
when you
calls, huh?
began as custodian of records, was the only way inmates could communicate just over phone?
Yes, sir.
And then here in more recent years, has that expanded to different ways that they can communicate?
Yes, sir.
In addition to phone, what are the other ways that an inmate can communicate?
They can communicate through the tablet, and through the tablet they can either do essentially text messages or video visits.
And what's the name of the system that allows those video visits?
The system we currently use is called Telmate, T-E-L-M-A-T-E.
And I know you've been, in your new job, is that the same system that was in effect back when you were with the Greene County Jail?
Yes, sir.
And when somebody has a video visit, an inmate does, is that visit stored somewhere?
Yes, sir.
How does that work?
Much like how the phone calls are stored, Telmate keeps them in a couple different areas, and then we're able to go pull them off to be able to review them.
And so if you're given the name of a specific individual, how would you search to see if he or she has made or had any video conversations?
With that one, we'd go ahead and log into the Telmate system and search by the individual's name that you gave us, or whoever gave us, the investigators.
And does the inmate use the tablet for video visits?
Yes, sir.
Is there any information that needs to be put in for that individual to be able to have the video visit?
For the visit to be scheduled, the inmate has to enter in their PIN number, basically.
I don't think I've seen any of their prison calls.
They have to enter that in, and then whenever the visit occurs, they enter that in to get it scheduled or accept the visit, and then whenever the visit occurs, they have to do the same thing and accept the visit.
Then if you're given a task to obtain a video visit, can you then put it into a format that others can view it?
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
It's fairly automated. You log in, and then you kind of like whenever you download a video or a song from the internet, you just click download, and it does it automatically, and it puts it into either a WAV file or an MP3 or 4. I don't remember which one it was. I believe it was a WAV file.
And then you put that on a disc?
Yes, sir.
Now, have you, back when you were with the jail, did you ever access video conversations for an inmate named Nicholas Godejohn?
Yes, sir.
And specifically, did you obtain a video conversation or video visit that Mr. Godejohn had on January 9th of 2018?
Yes, sir.
And once you obtained that visit, did you put it onto a disc in the manner that you described?
Yes, sir.
At the time that you accessed that video visit and put it on a disc, was that Telmate system working properly?
Yes, sir.
No indication that it wasn't working properly? So Carol, I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 180. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir. That would be a copy of the video visit that you played for me, and I put my initials on it.
And you've seen the visit that is on State's Exhibit 180?
Yes, sir.
And does it appear to be an interview with a journalist?
Yes, sir.
Due to where that journalist is located, is there somewhat of a delay between question and answer?
There is.
And is that common with that system depending on where the other person is?
Yes, and their internet connections and that type of good stuff.
And is the portion of the conversation that's on State's Exhibit 180 fair and accurate to the disc that you made?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, the State would seek to admit State's Exhibit 180
I'll admit it over objection, previously stated.
and may it be published.
Yes, I'm going to stand down there so I can see it the way the TV screen is.
You know, my church.
No, I've never looked at that.
Oh, this was on
Did you see her on the
YouTube.
door to you and let you in?
I haven't
She was
watched it
obvious-
though.
Oh yeah, she was deeply involved with it. I mean, just like it says in his plea statements, like I said, right, when I was talking to them, it says just pretty much word for word what I told them. She told me before I ended up getting there, and I texted that there was latex gloves that'd be on the porch. She did say that. Right on the text, it's clear as day that you can actually see it. And then, well, I ended up finding them when I got there, and I let her know that I was at the door. She opened the door, and she made sure I had the gloves on before she gave me the weapon, and she made sure that she wouldn't let me open the door. She made sure I had those gloves on before either of those doors opened. So that's the reason why you're making see any fingerprints on any of that stuff. And then from that point on, well, my darker part of me took over, and because she knew right away that I admitted straight out to the whole thing that I was not going to get involved with this, no matter how much you try to push me. It was going to have to be a darker side of me of some form that I have never had the opportunity to explore. So I did not know what it was capable of until that dark night. Once that night came, I knew fully well what it was capable of. And at that point, there was no time going back because from the first step I walked into the house, I knew there was no going back. There was two thoughts that came in my mind. One was a benevolent thought, and the other one was a malevolent thought. It was almost like having a devil on one shoulder and a angel on the other. Basically, what happened was I had one thought in my mind out of nowhere appear, and it just appeared. I didn't know. It was almost like, I guess you could call it God, is what everyone likes to call it. Him talking to you, or an angel talking to you through him, maybe. Basically saying, take her and run. That was the benevolent thought. Take her and run.
Oh.
As if it was the kind of feeling that was basically trying to influence on me, as if I was somehow going to get away with it if I ran away with her. As if somehow we were able to keep her mom at bay better than she was able to in the past when she ran away. However, the other thought came in my mind was because it saw as basically because the darker part of me was also in love with the darker part of her, and because of it, the thought was excuse my French, but it basically said this bitch is dead. Not letting her be between me and her, this bitch is dead. Basically, is what the thought was, and unfortunately, I ended up listening to my darker side because I wanted to be with her, and I remember what she said, and I wanted to believe what she was saying, and unfortunately, I should have listened to my other part of me. As ironic as I was trying to influence her to go with it, but she never went with it. She never wanted to run away, so I couldn't get back to work. But anyways, as the whole thing happened, she ended up, as I was walking through the hallway that led to her room, her mom's room, and so forth, she ended up in the hall bathroom. She locked it, and I waited at least a minute and thought about if I really wanted to do it. And before I was to do it, allegedly, I was willing to do it. The next thing I know, I ended up going right into it and thought there was no going back because I had myself on my word, and I was not one to break my word to really anyone at all if I had one to keep at the time. If it was worth keeping, I was going to keep it. And that's what led me
The video is going to cut off in a minute.
I loved her so deeply. that
Remember
I
whatever you just
can't
did
find
to that thing.
I-
And should we try it tomorrow?
Oh,
Bye.
What the hell?
okay. Yep. All right. Sounds good.
Your Honor, I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. This is May this witness speaks.
On behalf of the state, yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have any additional evidence?
Your Honor, at this time, the state rests.
Ladies and gentlemen, the state has rested their presentation in this matter at this time. So we're going to
State
adjourn for the
rests.
evening. We'll return tomorrow at 9.
Well, that was something. If the state rests, then I'm still confused why the medical we've watched literally every testimony that's been. I might have to go look for the medical examiner's testimony because maybe Law and Crime did not put it in their playlist when they broke it down, but something is weird about that playlist then. I might have to go look. Yeah, that's weird. But anyways, I already have a stream scheduled for tomorrow, and as soon as I end this one, it is going to shoot you over to that one. And if you don't have notifications on, there is always the notify button on that. It's on members only in the chat right now, and I just do that simply when a stream is scheduled out. But I will turn it on to public chat as it gets closer. If you are a member, you can go into the chat whenever. But we will go over all gypsies tomorrow and then start the defense side. Now we only have 1 day left for defense and then the verdict, and then that is done for trial. And I will follow up tomorrow and see about getting the rest of the court documents, or at least get the cost on it. But yeah, we'll just keep trucking along and go from there. So I thank everyone for being here with me today. And if you catch the replay, thank you so much. This was fascinating, I guess, disturbing. I I don't even want to say erotic because it was just quite repulsive, to be honest. Like, nope. But it was odd. Anyways, again, I thank all of you and thank you for becoming a member to the channel. Um, I appreciate you guys supporting um, anything that I'm doing over here regarding true crime and stuff that is not drama related. Um, I know that viewership is different, and I'm okay with that. And just being here and hanging out is appreciated. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. And Lydia, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. But I will see you guys tomorrow for sure. And enjoy your evening. Good night, everyone.